All right, guys. Day 44 of the 100 Days of LeetCode. Today we're doing implement strStr. Let's get right to it. So we're given two strings. One is needle, one is haystack. And basically we want to return the index of the first occurrence of needle in a haystack, or -1 if needle is not part of the haystack. And do this a nice little theoretical thing that you can ask yourself. But basically, for the purpose of this problem, we will return 0 when needle is an empty string. It's consistent to C's, strStr, and Java's index of. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now, to give you an example of what this looks like, if the haystack is hello and the needle is LL, well, LL is there, and that begins at the second index, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so we return 2. And here we have no instance of the needle in the haystack, so we return -1. Okay. So right at the bottom here, we're going to return -1. All right, because that's going to basically be if we don't have it in the haystack. And we can check for the whole empty string situation at the top. Needle dot equals, oops, boom. Now what I do? Yeah, I know. I mistyped something and it ran it. That's actually a cool keyboard shortcut that I could get to know. But here we're going to return 0. And now what we're going to do is we're basically just going to iterate through the haystack with a little bit of a modification. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I less than haystack.length minus needle.length plus, oops, that's not how you spell length, plus 1. And then, of course, we're going to increment I, and that should actually be a semicolon. So what we're doing here is we're going to be iterating through the haystack, and at each point we're going to be checking if the substring that begins at that new index is the needle, okay? And the reason why we have to put +1 at the end here, because this is sort of intuitive. It makes sense that, you know, if the needle is 10 characters long, well, we don't have to start when we only have, 7 characters left, because we know the needle's not going to be in there. But we need the +1 because let's say if the needle is 1 character, we still need to check the last character of the string, and if we don't have this +1, we won't do that. And of course, you can see how, if needle's 2 characters, we need to start. We need to check starting at the second last index, so on and so forth. That's why we need that +1. Okay. So now we're basically just gonna check. We're gonna say if we're going to check the substring of haystack. So we're going to say haystack.substring starting at I, ending at I plus needle.length dot equals needle. We're going to return I. So basically, this substring function is a Java function. There's similar ones in other languages, but basically, if the substring of haystack that starts at index I and ends at the character before I plus needle plus length equals needle. Okay, and this second character isn't inclusive. Or not second character. Second argument isn't inclusive. It's exclusive, right? But this is the correct thing to put here, because if we were to put +1, right, thinking that, oh, it's exclusive, we'd actually get, we'd be checking a substring that's too long, and we'd never find our needle. But we want to check if this substring equals needle, and if it does, we return I. And of course, if we get through all this and we don't find anything, we want to return -1 because we haven't found it. Let's run the code and see if I wrote it correctly. And I did. Okay, that's how you solve that one. If you guys have been enjoying this video, please like, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. See ya.